Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Angel. I will be sharing my fibroid story with you all in hopes that if you're dealing with fibroids or someone that you know, I may be able to provide some useful information that may be helpful to you. So I just want to give a little bit of background. I do have a family history of fibroids in which my mom and grandma both had fibroids. And I am aware that fibroids affect many women, but particularly Black women. So, I don't know why that is, but that's what the research shows. And it also seems to affect women who are within childbearing years who do not have kids. So I have the family history. I am Black, Jamaican descent, and I am within childbearing years and I don't have kids. So I just want to also give a little background as to how I found out. I just went in for a routine visit with my gynecologist and he felt some abnormality and he referred me for a pelvic ultrasound, and from there I was referred to another gynecologist to discuss treatment options. So in regards to the treatment options, I found out that I had a few fibroids, so not just one fibroid or two fibroids, was definitely a few there, and the largest being that of the size of an orange. So the options that I remember reading and discussing, I believe one was like shrinking the fibroids, a laparoscopic procedure, and an open myomectomy procedure. However, because my largest fibroid was that of an orange, some of those options were not going to be suitable for me. And what I was told is that the open myomectomy procedure would be most suitable for me, which is basically where you receive like a C-section cut, similar to that of when a woman has a baby via C-section, in your bikini area. So that's the open myomectomy, and they go in and they remove the fibroids that way. I decided to go ahead and go with that procedure, even though I would have preferred the less invasive procedure, which would have been like the laparoscopic procedure, where they just make a few incisions in your stomach and then they remove the fibroids through those incisions. But that wouldn't have been a suitable option for me based on what my surgeon told me. And in case you're deciding why I didn't decide to just go ahead and keep the fibroids and monitor them, I did kind of monitor the fibroids within the time frame that I found out I had fibroids, to the point where I met up with the other gynecologist to discuss treatment options. And I did discover that the fibroids were growing. So that was also a concern for me. And also, I do want to have children. And what I was told was, based on the size of the largest fibroid, it would likely be a complicated pregnancy if I was to have a baby and have, a fibroid of that size. And also because it was growing, there was a risk of it growing and going into, like, I believe, the uterus lining. So there was just several factors that made the risk higher in regards to having a child and possible complications that I would not have wanted to have gone through while being pregnant. So for me, I felt like the best option was to just go ahead and have surgery. So I do want to say I am now 4 weeks post-op. I had the surgery in April and we're now in May. My surgery was early in the morning. We're still in COVID time, so I wasn't able to have my mom go in with me, because my mom is the person who was with me to help and support me through my recovery process. So I had to go in by myself and prepare for surgery. Now, during that time, my surgeon came in and she spoke with me and kind of prepped me. I also spoke with the anesthesiologist and the nurses. So, all of that was still helpful. I had surgery before, I've had anesthesia before, but there was still a level of concern because this is a major surgery and a major procedure. So thankfully, it was successful. Got a little tongue-tied there, but it was successful, and I was able to wake up from surgery and go into recovery. And once I was in recovery, I did find out that I had 10 fibroids in total. So I was then given the exact number because my surgeon had told me prior that she wasn't able to tell me exactly how many I had until she actually went in and did the surgery. And if I didn't state before, I did have an MRI as well during that whole process, which also further confirmed that I had fibroids and approximately the sizes. So like I said, in total I had 10 fibroids. I do want to show you all a picture of the fibroids. If you are sensitive to content like that, I would just say fast forward. Otherwise, and this is a picture of what my fibroids looks like from the largest to the smallest fibroid. So you'll see it's like a whole little tribe, right? So very interesting, but she was able to get all of them out, and that I'm grateful for, because I didn't want to have to repeat the procedure or just have some left behind and risk them growing larger. And yeah, so I'm just grateful that they're all out. So once I had the surgery and I was in recovery, a part of recovery to be able to be discharged from the hospital is that you have to be able to pee on your own. And that was definitely a process. I was not aware that that was one of the requirements, but it is. And I guess from the surgery and all of that, it probably cuts off something in regards to like your bladder, and it has to do its thing for you to be able to pee. So it took several hours for me to be able to do so. The first time that I did try to pee, I was unsuccessful. And I will say the whole peeing process was extremely painful, because you just had, an open incision, an open cut, and now an incision, and you are in a lot of pain. So just trying to get out of the bed and to sit on the toilet, so painful. So eventually, a couple hours later, I was able to pee. Excruciating pain. One of the worst pain I've ever felt. It is the worst pain that I've ever felt. So once that happened, I believe I was still at the hospital just for a little while longer. And during the time that I was at the hospital in recovery, they're giving you medication and all of that, giving you food. I will say the hospital staff where I went, they were extremely helpful. They were really nice. So that really helped. So I would say I got discharged later that evening, maybe like at 8 p.m. And my mom was at home to assist me in my recovery process. So I felt, a lot more comfortable being discharged that day or that evening and being able to go home and sleep in my own bed. Even though I had my reservations, because a part of me wanted to kind of stay in the hospital because of the amount of pain that I was feeling, but they felt as if I was ready to be discharged based on their assessment. So once I got home, like I said, my mom was home. Just getting in the car from the hospital to my house, which was not a long distance, that was a challenge. Just, you realize how much you use your abdominal muscles for everything. It was so painful getting into the car and getting out of the car. It's like you feel everything. Fortunately, I have elevators in my building, so I didn't have to worry about climbing the stairs initially. And in my home, I have one story, so I also didn't have to worry about climbing any stairs. So I was basically, just going kind of from my bedroom to the living room to the bathroom, which, is all in pretty close proximity. But getting into the bed, getting out of the bed, I would say was the most challenging part. Even peeing, having to keep the toilet lid up because I wouldn't be able to bend to pick the lid up. And if I haven't said before, I am 4 weeks post-op at this point. So that's why I'm able to sit here in this position and not be, very uncomfortable. and all of that, and even put myself together to do the video. So again, I just needed assistance with basically everything. You know, my mom would help with picking up items because you cannot bend. You definitely cannot bend low. Something falls on the floor, it's like you need someone to pick it up for you. My mom was assisting, you know, with cooking and just having to bring the food to me. Honestly, in those, like, I would say that first week, I just really did not have, not really only the strength, it's just, it's so much pain, so I can't just get up and move the way I would like to move. So just moving from the living room to the kitchen was very difficult. I was prescribed pain medication, oxycodone and Panadol. I am allergic to multiple medications, so those were the ones that were considered safe for me to take. And I definitely didn't really want to take oxycodone, but I had to take it because of the level of pain. Again, for me, this was a pain I've never experienced before, the hardest pain I've ever experienced. So I felt that the only way I was going to get through this was I had to take the oxycodone. So I took the oxycodone, I would say, for a few days, and then I was able to only take the Panadol. I was taking oxycodone and Panadol, I believe interchangeably, something like that, but I definitely was taking the Panadol consistently for the amount of time prescribed. I was also prescribed a stool, like constipation medication, and if you do get prescribed that, I definitely advise making sure that you do take that, because you will get constipated, and it's like you don't want to be badly constipated and going through this pain at the same time. So for me, it was very helpful that I was consistently taking those pills. I also purchased Gas X and peppermint tea, and I was taking those as soon as I got home. You know, I had my mom make me the peppermint tea, and I was drinking that consistently to also help with gas, constipation, digestion, all of that. And I would just have, you know, my pills on hand wherever I was. I usually would wake up in the mornings, and, you know, once I'm ready to get into, you know, ready, I guess, to start my day of pain, I would come to the living room and I would sit on the couch, and that's kind of just where I would be basically for the rest of the day until it was time to go to bed again. I will say that I was able to get into the shower. I believe it was my second, it might have been, so I got the discharged, and that next morning I wasn't able to get in the shower. I had to do more like of a bird bath, and then the following day I was able to get in the shower, and every day since then. You don't want to get your incision like super soaked, so that's something you can discuss with your doctor, how to properly care for your incision. But basically, yes, I would be in the living room. I tried not to just lay down. I definitely did not lay down for the majority of my recovery, besides when I had to sleep. I did order a memory foam pillow from Amazon, which was extremely helpful. I still use it. It's a memory foam pillow that's shaped in a way like it's kind of slanted like this, and when you sleep on it, you sleep on it with your back, you know, on your back, because you cannot sleep on your sides or your stomach, and it just helps in keeping you in that position. But the way it's shaped, you're also able to use it to sit upright. So I would place it behind me on the sofa to give me that like upright posture, and sometimes I would elevate my legs on a stool or so. But I was also trying to walk around a little bit once I was able to do so, as much as I could, because you don't want to just sit, because you can risk getting blood clots. So I definitely did not want that. My legs did get swollen at some point during, I would say, maybe the first 3 days. So I was very mindful of, you know, just getting up and trying to walk a little bit, even if it's from the living room to the kitchen or to the bedroom, just to get that blood circulating. So just wanted to share that. And then from there, you know, I would say every day, especially every week, got better in regards to feeling stronger and the things that I was able to do. Eventually, I started walking outside my building, and then right before 2 weeks, I was able to walk outside in the community and, you know, like around the block, that type of stuff. I did drive my first week. After 1 week of surgery to my post-op appointment, I kind of feel like that's a little bit too soon in my opinion, but my doctor did say I was able to do so. So I did it. And after I did that, I didn't drive again for another week because I wanted to feel as if I was more comfortable in doing so. I also purchased a hysterectomy pillow from Amazon. If I'm able to link my pillow that I sleep on and the hysterectomy pillow for the car seat belt, I will do so. But that one basically just sits on your incision area while you're driving to just give you that extra cushioning and padding. So that has been helpful. But now I am 4 weeks post-op, a lot more stronger. I'm able to do a lot more things for myself. I'm able to clean my counters. I'm able to sweep, but I'm not bending down to pick things all the way up from the floor. I do use my feet a lot to assist in picking items up. So there's still some more recovery that needs to be done, but for the most part, I'm doing a lot better at this point. I no longer have the bandage on my incision. I was able to remove that, I believe last week or this past week, very recently I removed that. I will say that I had developed 2 boils on each side of my incision, which was an allergic reaction according to my doctor. She said they're called bullous. They were filled with liquid, not an infection, no pus. They were drained by my doctor, and then after they were drained, one of them did come back, but drained on its own. And since then, they have since, you know, healed. Still a little bit of scabbing to fall off, and my plan is to just use Mederma consistently to be able to minimize any scarring. But that's kind of where I'm at right now. I do want to do a follow-up video in regards to my recovery, which I will do at my 6-week mark, which is when you're said to be basically healed. So I want to be able to come on here and let you guys know how I'm feeling at 6 weeks. So please, you know, stay tuned. Please subscribe to my channel if you are interested in this type of content, and if it has been helpful to you. I'll also leave my Instagram angle so that you can check me out on Instagram, and I look forward to answering any questions, getting to know you guys, and if there's any other videos you may be interested in, I'll definitely love to hear your feedback and see if I can deliver. I love fashion, lifestyle, fitness, and travel. So those are some of the things that I'm into. And I will say I do live a pretty healthy lifestyle, so I don't really know what's the cause exactly of fibroids, but I think we're all on here just trying to get as much information as possible. And one of the things that's just kind of, I guess, you know, concerning is why is it that so many Black women get fibroids? But we'll talk more. Thank you guys for tuning in, and stay healthy.